Well, hello there, fellow geeks and geekettes, and welcome to another video. So a couple of days ago I made a video called Forget DC Future State, read this instead, in which I talked about the fact that DC Future State comic books were written just solely for the purpose of inclusion and representation, and not for actually creating good stories, which is the main draw, right? Or should be the main draw of every single piece of literature. Well, and instead of this, I recommended Superman Red Sun, which in my opinion is the best Elseworld story DC Comics ever produced. Now, in connection with that, I have thought of something else. Another recommendation that you could read instead of something else that has been created for the sole purpose of, well, in this case, Kathleen Kennedy's SJW feminist agenda. And we are talking about Star Wars: The High Republic, which is, once again, I have talked about it in one of my videos. It is an initiative that is launched by Lucasfilm, Disney, and various publishers. It's a series of comic books, novels, and TV shows that is set about 200 years before the Battle of Yavin, I think. And it's clear that it has come from the fraction of Lucasfilm that is under the, well, rule and reign of Kathleen Kennedy. Because when you look at the previews, the pictures, when you read the first issues of the comics or read the first novel that just came out, I've read some reviews, it's clear that it has been created for the sole purpose of inclusion, representation, diversity, and following Kathleen Kennedy's feminist agenda. And if you focus your work of art solely on this, if you write something just because you want to tick or check some sort of boxes, this is no good, because the story might not necessarily be good. And if you are not focusing on making good stories first, people will not like it, people will not buy it, people will not enjoy it. What does it mean for the creator, for the publisher, for the corporation? It means that the corporation will lose money. That very same thing happened to DC Comics. That's why DC Comics is going to be dead. That's why DC Comics is at the verge of bankruptcy. And AT&T is going to absolutely dissolve it very soon. Now, as I said, Lucasfilm is apparently divided into two fractions. There is a civil war within Lucasfilm. A fraction following the awesome and fabulous Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and the fraction following the witch Kathleen Kennedy, who just wants to destroy Star Wars, it seems to me, and does not care about the stories, just cares about bitching about white males on Twitter and saying that the Force is female. Now, compare these two things, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, pleasing the fans and new viewers. Both. Making good product, making good stories, making Mandalorian, making the Clone Wars. Pleasing fans, pleasing new fans, or the old fans and new fans. That means that the fans are actually content, and for the company it means more money. The other side of the thing, pleasing feminists. Honestly, women do not care about Star Wars as much as men do. Females do not care about comic books as much as men do. Means losing money, it means losing popularity. What's more clever, what's cleverer, the thing that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau do. And they have been following very closely their own line, and they have been drawing very much from the original canon. That is my own personal favorite canon, and that is now called The Legends. It was a series of dozens and dozens and hundreds of and thousands, hundreds of thousands of pages of material in novels and comic books. The Expanded Universe, as it was called. So my recommendation is, instead of reading Star Wars: The High Republic, read things like The Shadows of the Empire instead, which in my eyes is one of the best, now it's called Legends because it has been decanonized, original canon expanded universe novels, which is set between the Empire Strikes Back and the Return of the Jedi, and it follows the main characters of the Star Wars saga, the original trilogy, follow Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia, who is actually the main character, I would say, in this particular novel, and their journey for rescuing Han Solo. Now, there is a character introduced in this novel. He's called Prince Xizor, and he is the crime lord, the boss of the Dark Sun Empire, or crime syndicate, I believe. It's been a couple of years since I read it for the last time. Yeah, it is indeed so. And he pretends that he wants to be an ally to the Empire, but in fact, he wants to usurp Darth Vader's place at the right hand of Emperor Palpatine. And but in order to do this, he has to pretend that he's an ally of Darth Vader. But Darth Vader senses something, because he's, you know, the Dark Lord, the master of the dark side of the Force. And what's very interesting about that is that there is a lot of very emotional and very, very, let's say, well, not specifically sexual scenes, but there is a sexual tension in this book a lot, because, for example, what Princess Leia has to do is she has to infiltrate the the palace of Prince Xizor, and in order to get to know where Han Solo is. But Prince Xizor, this guy here, is an alien of a reptilian persuasion, and he can produce pheromones from his body that draw the sexual attention of any female, of any race, of any species in the universe. And it ends up by almost Princess Leia and Prince Xizor having sexual intercourse. Thankfully, it was interrupted by Chewbacca, who was taking care of Princess Leia when Han Solo was in Carbonite and was not present there. It is a masterfully well-written book by Steve Perry. It was published in 1996, and up to this day I consider it one of the best expanded universe novels of the Star Wars, well, universe really, the galaxy far, far away. The other one is the Thrawn trilogy, written by Timothy Zahn. This is the second volume. I grabbed it very fast. Yeah, Dark Force Rising. The first one is the Heir to the Empire, I believe. Am I right? I should be right. The Heir to the Empire, I think, is, yeah. Yeah, the Heir to the Empire is the first one, the Dark Force Rising is the second one, and the Last Command is the third one. What this is set after the episode 6, after Return of the Jedi, and it, I think, about 6 years after this, and it follows Luke Skywalker and once again Han Solo and Princess Leia and their life after the Empire. So Leia's pregnant, they're expecting twins with Han Solo at the beginning of this series, and Luke Skywalker becomes the first Master Jedi or Jedi Knight after a long time, and he's setting up his own, or preparing to set up his own Jedi Academy, and the Empire isn't dead as it seemed to be, not completely, because there's one of the Grand Admirals of the Galactic Empire who survived. He's called Admiral Thrawn. Many people know him from the Rebels TV show, but long-time fans know him mainly from these novels. And he is trying to gather the remaining forces of the Galactic Empire and attack the New Republic. And this novel, not only does it introduce Grand Admiral Thrawn, but also such characters as Mara Jade, who later becomes Mara Jade Skywalker. She was first a hired assassin. We could call it a bounty hunter, more like a hired assassin who was supposed to assassinate Luke Skywalker. But they fall in love with each other and they have kids in the end. And Mara Jade Skywalker herself is a Force-sensitive character, and she uses lightsaber in the end. So these novels and trilogies, I only picked 2, so I don't overburden you with information and new recommendations. They contain not only our very favorite characters and fan favorite characters, long time favorite characters, but also introduce new characters that are of all races and all species and all sexes. As I said, there is Mara Jade, or Mara Jade Skywalker, there is Grand Admiral Thrawn, there is Shizor, many characters that are likable and admirable, but first and foremost, and that is the most important aspect of each and every story, it's masterfully and perfectly written. And that is the main thing. And this was first published in 1993, I think. And this, as I said, in 1996. Nobody cared about inclusion, representation in the first place. Nobody was, like really caring about checking like boxes or ticking up boxes first, on the first place, and hiring people based on the color of their skin or their sexuality. But they were hiring writers like Steve Perry or Timothy Zahn on merit. Very good, skilled writers. They had proved themselves. And that's why they produced good product. So these are my 2 recommendations. Forget Star Wars The High Republic. Read this instead. That's my recommendation. What do you think, my friends? Have you read these 2 novels or not? What do you think about what I have been talking about for the last 11 minutes? Let me know in the comments down below. If you agree with me or if your opinion differs in any way, I am only glad to engage in an intelligent and educated discussion. And because YouTube is really messing up with the algorithm as far as the free speech oriented YouTubers such as myself, do not forget to like this video if you liked it, or dislike this video if you didn't like it, and subscribe to this unimportant channel of an unimportant geek talking about unimportant things, and hit that bell to get the latest notifications of my great videos. Okay, so yeah, that'll be really all. See you soon, and may the force be with you. Bye.